When your grown child calls at 70 and asks you to lend him a few $1,000s, saying no can feel like slamming a door on your own heart. But there is a way to say it with love, and today I'm going to give it to you. Before we begin, if you believe our later years can be strong, peaceful, and full of worth, subscribe to this channel. We are walking this road together. So, the phone rings on the kitchen counter right next to your cup of tea. You see the name, and your whole chest softens. It is Michael, your boy. There is the warm hello, the little catch-up, the sound of a voice you have known his entire life. And then it comes. Mom, could you lend me a few thousand? Just this once? And right there something tightens. The guilt rises like heat in your face, quick and old and familiar. Before your mind has even finished the thought, your hand is already moving toward the drawer, toward the checkbook and the pen. You know that reach. You have done it 100 times. Here's the fear underneath it, the one you do not say out loud, that somewhere along the way, you stopped being his mother and started being his bank, that your love is only worth what you can hand over, and that if the money stops, the love might too. But listen to me, because this is the first true thing. Love and a boundary can live in the same breath. Saying no to the money is not saying no to the child. You can hold your ground and hold his hand at the very same time. Think back. The first time, it was the rent, and of course you helped. The next time, the car needed fixing, and you helped again. And the third time, well, the third time you did not even hear a thank you. The money left your account, and the silence came right back. And all the while, your own heating bill sat there on the wooden table, waiting. His need got met. Yours kept waiting. That, right there, is the difference between helping someone and being slowly drained. And you are allowed to feel it. If you have ever reached for that checkbook before your heart even caught up, nod gently because you are far from the only good woman who has. Now, as your hand hovers over that open checkbook, you tell yourself the softest little story. You tell yourself it is fine. It is only a little cushion. Just some spare money you can afford to give. Spare. You keep calling it spare. A little extra sitting there for a rainy day, easy to give away. But that one small word is the quiet lie that empties good women like you. Because those savings in that drawer, they were never spare at all. Spare. That is the gentle lie we tell ourselves, that the money in the drawer is extra, a soft little cushion we can afford to hand away. But look closely at what that money actually is. It is your groceries, the bag you set on the counter on a Tuesday, so you never have to count coins in the store. It is your medicine, the little pill organizer on the shelf, the bottles you refill without a second thought. It is your rent, your warm rooms, the roof you answer to no one for. And it is your dignity for 20 more years you cannot predict. Look at a wall calendar, all those months ahead, empty and unknown. Nobody handed you a promise about which of them you will need a doctor or a repair, or simply the freedom to say yes to yourself. That passbook resting in the drawer is not a cushion. It is the whole floor you're standing on. And here is the harder truth, said with love. When you drain that money to rescue a grown adult from a choice he made, you do not teach him anything. You only postpone him. He does not learn to stand. He learns that when he wobbles, your floor is there to catch him. That is not a gift. That is a delay dressed up as help. So let me take one weight off your chest right now. Keeping what is yours is not abandoning your child. You're not slamming a door. You're simply refusing to make your own old age the price of his comfort. Those are not the same thing, no matter how the guilt tries to blur them. Let me ask you something, just between us. Tell me in the comments, how old are you, and has anyone ever made you feel guilty for keeping what is rightfully yours? I read them, and I am on your side. And if this is the honest love and talk you have been needing, stay with us and subscribe. We are walking this road together. Now back to it. Because you did not come here just to feel understood. You came for the words, the ones to say when the phone rings and the question comes. So here they are, and I want you to hear them plainly. I love you, and I cannot give you this money, but I am here. Read them again slowly. Love and a boundary, living in the same breath, no lecture, no long apologetic story about your bills and your fears. And that last part matters more than you think, because a long excuse invites a negotiation. The moment you start explaining, you hand him a thread to pull, a reason to argue with. You owe no one a defense of your own security. The short sentence closes the checkbook in the drawer gently, and it keeps your heart wide open. So now you have the words, but a no with empty hands can still feel like a door closing, and the loving no has a second half, what you put into his hands instead of money, what you put into his hands instead of money, not a check, your presence. And honestly, that is worth more than the few $1,000s he asked for, even if it does not feel that way to him at first. So when Michael calls, you do not hand him silence. You hand him a warm meal at your own kitchen table set for two. You sit down with him and his laptop, and you spend the afternoon helping updating his resume, one line at a time. And when the real fear is a bill he cannot face, you do not pay it. You sit beside him while he calls the bank himself, your hand near his, steady. He makes the call. He does the hard thing. And you are right there. That is presence, not payment. It costs your savings nothing, and it gives him the one thing money never could, the feeling that he can stand on his own 2 feet. Now, a quiet word, and I say this calmly, not to frighten you. Watch the pattern. If the asks keep coming, if each one grows a little bigger than the last, if the thank you goes missing, again and again, that is something to notice gently with clear eyes, not with anger, just with attention. And for any real decision about your home or your savings, please do not carry it alone in your head at midnight. Sit down with a trusted professional, someone who works with these things every day, steadily in the daylight, not in fear. That is not weakness. That is a woman who knows the value of what she has. Now, picture your own phone ringing. Could you say it now? The love and no? I think you could. I really do. Because here comes the second call. Michael asks again. And this time, something is different. This time you breathe, one slow breath before you speak. And then you say it, kind, steady, without a drop of shame. I love you, and I cannot give you this money, but I am here. There is a silence on the line. You feel it in your chest, that old heat rising, the reflex reaching for the drawer, but the checkbook stays shut, and you wait. And then, because you stayed warm, because you never once made him feel small, the line does not go cold. He's disappointed. Of course he is. But he's not abandoned. You were firm. You were not cruel. Love and a boundary, living in the same breath, exactly as they were always meant to. Weeks go by, and there you both are, 2 coffee cups on the table, laughing over something silly the way you always have. Nothing broke. The relationship held. And back home, your heating stays on, warm through the whole long evening. That is where I leave you, at your own kitchen table, the tea going cold in your hands, the checkbook shut in the drawer, the radiator humming in the corner, your peace intact, your heart still open. Your love never ran out, my dear. Only the guilt did. You have earned the right to a respected old age, and you're finally allowed to guard it with both hands and with love.